and the thing about the announcements. So let's get to it.
Okay, good.
Let's get to it. This is Mr. Red Fox, I'm the proprietor of BS Busters. Before we go any further, let's have the panelists introduce themselves. We have, well, go ahead. Starting with the lady first.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Welcome to the BS Buster Center. I am Julia Eli Moonstar, and today the PC has shown its cards on the table. There's a few of them right now, if I think about it.
I did. I did in fact buy. I did buy 2 games. As a matter of fact. Kenoshi?
Yeah. What were those games? Oh, this is Country Abominito. Here to say I completely forgot about the PC gaming show. So we're just gonna improv this whole. I'm just gonna improv this whole cast.
All right, that's okay. That's all right.
Hey, things can come from improvising.
Yeah, and this is Mr. Red Fox. I'm a proprietor of BS Busters. Before we go any further, I would like to introduce, to show you the new placard. It's plain. It's very plain, but it clearly states how to get in touch with the channel. So you can reach me at Mr. Red Fox BS Buster at gmail.com or at Matthew Space Wesley at Mr. Red Fox 91. You can at me at Twitter at Mr. Red Fox 91, or there's a link to the Discord server underneath this video. So if you would like to be a part of the cast or on the Discord server, there you go. And it's open to everyone. Just there's certain rules, so don't be a dick or spam things or anything like that.
Think like a human, for F's sake.
Yeah. So if a topic is introduced in the Discord server, keep it stay on topic. Don't introduce something that doesn't really, if you don't know how to segue, don't bring it in there. But without much ado, let's get into it. So this is BS Busters, where we basically kind of deal with bullshit. But today, we're talking about, the PC gaming show. So I have a link on the page.
This is two podcasts in the many days about.
Well, I would say that the PC gaming show and the PlayStation 5 reveal are polar opposites of two extremes because I didn't watch the PS5 reveal, but most of the games that were announced with the PS5 reveal, I didn't give a fuck about. And then with the PC gaming show, I would say that I didn't like everything because you're not going to like everything that comes to a platform, but
I might have to get Torchlight 3 early access.
Yeah,
beautiful.
That was one of the games.
Beautiful.
That's one of the games. Well, I mean, I have the game. It's still in early access. It crashed my computer once, but it's Torchlight 3. It's basically a Diablo clone, but it has its own little hook to it, and it's pretty good. And I
played the first two. Yeah, I played the first two. The first two are pretty decent.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that game looks freaking fantastic. Like
Tight.
the first the first one looked pretty good at the time. And the second one, it pretty much, graphically speaking, it pretty much looked like the first one, maybe a little bit better. But this game went a few steps beyond.
This game does. I mean, but the thing is that the art style is very stylized, which means they don't have to spend a lot of resources trying to make shit look pretty. Which I'm happy about because, I mean, not every game needs to be, oh my god, look at the sweat on that guy's face. But speaking about games, so the first game that they showed was Valheim on the PC gaming show. It's basically kind of like Minecraft, except it doesn't have that shitty art style. And it's set in a kind of procedurally generated mythological, fantastical Norse mythology world. So, I mean, if you're into that type of thing, Valheim's coming. The next game was Ooblets. We know about this game because it's an Epic Store exclusive. It was on Steam, and then it went Epic Store exclusive, and it's going to be early access sometime this year. We talked about Torchlight 3, which I wouldn't bought that game early access. $30, totally worth it, at least to me.
Yeah. No, I'll probably wait a couple months before I get it, but yeah, I'll definitely pick that up when I get the chance.
Yeah, I said fuck it. I was like, you know what? I'd rather get on the bottom floor and see how the game has changed, and be able to add my 2 cents so that it's not a one. Because I mean, to be honest with you, I played the first Torchlight and I was like, this is basic as fuck. Torchlight 2, I think, is much better than the first game. But there was some money left on the table, and I think this time with Torchlight 3, they're going after that money that was left on the table, which I'm glad. I'm glad they kept pets. I know I was reading a design page where they said at some point they wanted to get rid of pets for Torchlight 3, and someone was like, how dare you? That's a major part of Torchlight, is that when your inventory's full, you can send your pet off to town and
deliver
and sell your shit. Which is a very interesting thing, because no other game did that before Torchlight, and now it's become kind of like their hook. So you can't get rid of a common hook for gaming once you've added it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Unless you're Nintendo with Paper Mario. But aside from that, you generally don't. Once you have something that's part of the core aspect of a game, you don't get rid of it. So let's keep it moving. The next game that they mentioned is Elite Dangerous Odyssey. Yes.
Are you talking?
That sounds like fun.
What? Are you guys talking? Never mind. Go on.
No.
What did you ask? Sorry.
No, I was just gonna ask you. I was just gonna ask you. No, I was just saying the next game is Elite Dangerous Odyssey.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. There's Elite Dangerous is a space exploration MMO, and it's just kind of interesting because I think they already have 2 games that are released, and and they're coming out with a version that allows you to explore planets. So, and there's another game that's been in development for, it seems like 10,000 years, at least in internet years. And Star Citizen, and I don't think that game's even out yet.
So
I just find it.
What, Star Citizen?
Yeah, Star Citizen. I just find it interesting that you have one game that's somewhat fulfilling the promise of Star Citizen.
Well, I mean, from what I've managed to understand about Star Citizen, the problem with Star Citizen is that essentially the game has feature creep. They keep on adding shit and trying to basically make it work.
Is that if Star Citizen, I think it is, isn't it the same game that has promised so much and so that's considered vaporware in a sense?
No, the game, there are people who are playing the game. It's in like essentially early access. The problem is that, the problem is that, it essentially is, the problem is that it essentially is like they keep on raising money by selling fake ships, in order to fund development. Now, had this game come out like after a 4 or 5 year development cycle, they could have said, okay, we're going to put the game out, it'll either sell or it'll bomb, but they keep on adding new features and trying to get them to work with the engine. Like they changed engines, like I would say halfway through development, and like when you do that in gaming, that's not good.
I was about to. This is starting to feel like Duke Nukem all over again.
Yes, that's why I would say Star Citizen is, and I mean, here's the thing, like space adventure sims are a niche that kind of started to dry up on PC. So that's why Elite Dangerous has its dedicated thing. And it's something that you don't get on consoles. You don't get those types of games on consoles, typically speaking. If they are ported to console, they're kind of shit, by and large. Or they're really arcadey.
Elite Dangerous is on Xbox One, and I think it is on PS4.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're gonna play a game like Elite Dangerous or Star Citizen or a Freebooter, like what these games are basically a callback to, these are games that are kind of designed to be on a PC with a joystick, with a flight stick that you use as almost a simulator aspect to it.
Not to mention it, there's so many different inputs, so definitely need a keyboard.
Yeah, so, that's just it. But Elite Dangerous looked interesting. I'm like, oh, you can finally go PlanetSide. That's cool. Keeping it moving. Which leads to the next game, which I bought immediately. Persona 4 Golden!
Yep.
Oh, no. I can hear the fanboys now.
Well, they kind of hinted because they had that fraud Greg Miller pop up, and I know some people are gonna say, "What do you mean he's a fraud?" Did people forget that he and his partner got fired off of IGN because they were taking bribes from Sony to give good grades to their games? Have people just forgotten that? Just people didn't
say something. I'd say something else about what Sony has done, but or rather Naughty Dog.
No, I'm just talking about. I'm talking about Greg Miller, but anyway, he popped up early on in the beginning of the PC game show, and he's like, "Well, here's a hint." And I listened to, and he played like a few notes of music, but I played this game so much on PS2 that as soon as he played it, I'm like, "Oh, it's Persona 4." So when it showed, like, when can you get this game? You can get it right now off of Steam. I was like, well, shit. and it's $19.99 for the base version, and it's like $24.99 if you want to get the digital deluxe version with like some digital artwork and the soundtrack. And since I love this game so much, I've already bought it 4 times before. I bought it twice on PS2, once on PS3. And once for Vita TV. I never played it on Vita TV, but I bought it for Vita TV.
You bought it for Vita TV.
I like this game so much, I've bought it multiple times. So I bought it a 5th time.
I'm trying to face palm at how ridiculous that sounded.
It's not ridiculous.
How is P5 compared to P4?
The core systems are the same. The story, I feel, is a little bit more personal in Persona 4, whereas it's not quite as personal in Persona 5. Okay. The characters, there's better characterization in Persona 4 than Persona 5, in my opinion. It's like the difference between Final Fantasy 4 and Final Fantasy 6. Like, Final Fantasy 4 has a very personalized story for those characters, whereas Final Fantasy VI has a more epic story. Like their personal parts, like different characters have personal stories, but only like the 4 main characters really have their stories expounded upon. Whereas Final Fantasy IV, like Cecil's story, or Cecil, his journey is really the entire story of the game. It revolves around him and the lessons he learns and how he grows as a character. So that's basically Persona 4. Like, Persona 4 is basically how your character you, which I didn't name him that. I don't know whether I think that's from the anime. They're like, yeah, his character's you. I'm like, I didn't call him that. But
Interesting name there.
no, I called him Maximus or Alex or my own name. I never called him you. Just like Robin from Fire Emblem Awakening. I'm like, why the fuck is this person named Robin? That's the stupidest name I've ever heard. But anyway, yeah, Persona 4 is more personal. Persona 5 is more, I won't say epic, but it's more stylish, I guess. I personally prefer 4. 4 in my opinion has a better story. Than 5, but that's my own personal opinion. They're both really good games. Next, In Sound Mind, which I'm not entirely sure
How sound of mind it is.
Well, I mean, it's like an adventure game. It's like a first-person adventure game. So, I'm kind of like, Airborne Kingdom trailer where you build, like, I guess, like, airships that are also cities. I don't know. All we saw was a trailer. We didn't see any gameplay, so I don't know what that game
they
is.
offer?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Dwarfheim, which is kind of like a cooperative RTS, essentially.
Usually you see battling RTSs.
This is a cooperative RTS. Like you can have like 3 or 4 different players, and each player has something that they're in charge of. So you can have someone who's in charge of fighting. You can have someone who's in charge of mining. You can have someone who's in charge of getting resources to build shit, and then you could have someone who's just in charge of building shit. So like this way you can divide the resources so people can focus on what they're good at. So I mean the idea behind it sounds pretty good. I didn't see any gameplay of it, so I can't really be like, okay, this will work. This will definitely be a must have.
You guys talking about Sound Mind?
No, Dwarfheim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in Sound Mind, we already moved beyond that. We did Airborne Kingdom and then Dwarfheim.
Okay.
Next we have Ultra Kill, which, I mean, to be fair, is they announced like 6 different games from that one developer, and some of them looked really interesting, like Dusk, which is like a throwback to first-person shooters of yesteryear. So I was kind of interested in that shit, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But the big thing is that they hate money.
Oh.
Yeah, we hate money. I'm like, damn, I wouldn't say that if I owned a business. But yeah, so yeah, that's.
Oh
that,
boy, that's
yeah,
be a mess.
Yeah, that guy announced that game. So then, so the next game they announced was Gloomwood, which is essentially
a horror game, it looks like?
Yeah, it looks like a horror game, but kind of like with a kind of a pixelish aesthetic. Actually looked kind of interesting. Then there was Humankind. It's basically an MMO, except it's like Civilization, but on a on a scale between Age of Empires and Civilization. It's between those two in terms of scale, which is kind of interesting. Yeah. Because Age of Empires did essentially the same shit.
Yeah.
But it was on a really small scale. And then Icarus, which is made by the guy who made DayZ after he basically abandoned that game. So basically the game is kind of like a roguelike space game where essentially you play these astronauts who go on excursions, and you know
Yeah.
bad shit can happen. You can defend yourself, but the real thing is, the real kicker is you have to make it back to your module so that you can get back to the space station.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you lose everything. So there's kind of like a real like, damn, I put all that work into this, and you're screwed. So you know, I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't like games like that.
Yeah, I don't like games like that either.
I'm kind of like, I do not want to play a game where I can lose everything, because that's too close to real life for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I can lose everything. No, I'm not really feeling that. The next game really enchanted me, and I really want it to be good, but Evil Genius 2. I have the first game on Steam. I haven't played it yet because, like, I played a lot of this game back in the day, but Evil Genius 2 looks like more of the same. If you don't know, the general plot behind Evil Genius is you're essentially an evil genius. Think a James Bond villain like Dr. No or Goldfinger or Thunderball.
There's some fun references there.
Yeah, and you get to build an evil lair where spies from other organizations try and come in, other evil villains try to take over your shit. But your main thing is that you have some type of master plan that you're trying to accomplish, and you have to do various operations in order to get the bits and pieces of that master plan in place, so that you can, in order for you to beat the game, you have to accomplish your master plan. Of course, you have enemy spies, other superheroes, other super villains trying to take you down while you're trying to get your shit taken care of. So that's kind of like the whole dynamic of Evil Genius. Of course, you have a base that you can put all types of traps and shit inside of, so when spies do get in, they can die horrifically. So you too can be number one from James Bond and have, you know, some poor bastard get
Mutilated.
Fall into the Shark Tank. You know, you too can be Dr. Evil. Mustafa! You know, have Mustafa go down that thing. I'm very badly burned, but I'm still alive. You know? Yeah, so, you know, Evil Genius, yeah, if you have that penchant.
So you get to try to do what those other villains don't. Get rid of the spy hero in this case.
Yeah, but the only thing you can't do is like in the first in the first Austin Powers, where he's like, yeah, we just go in there and shoot him. No, we can't. We gotta leave him in the room with the laser sharks. It's like, no, just go in there and shoot him. Come on.
You honestly remember the Austin Powers jokes, like.
I watched that movie a lot. I like Austin Powers. I like that whole trilogy. Even the third movie, which isn't that good, I like it.
It's funny that right now. They're all funny, but they got different levels of ha.
Yeah, the first movie is really funny. The second movie is funny, but there's some like, this isn't quite that good. And the third movie is like, there's a few funny moments, but it's not as funny as the first two films. But I mean, it's not like terrible.
Is that the movie with Beyonce?
Yeah, that, like the first movie is set in the 60s, and he like it starts in the 60s, but he's frozen and he winds up in present time for the time when that movie came out. The second movie is he loses his mojo, and because Dr. Evil goes back in time and steals his mojo, so he has to go back in time to get his mojo back. It's kind of weird, yeah. And then the third movie, he goes back in time to the 70s. I mean, they're just like, here's the thing. They're stupid spy movie spoofs. So if you like spy movies, but you get tired of serious ass James Bond, Austin Powers is your thing. The next thing is a trio of games from Humble Games. There's Fae Tactics, which I swear is channeling the shit out of Final Fantasy Tactics. Especially Final Fantasy Tactics Advance and Final Fantasy Tactics for the PlayStation. Carto and Project Wingman. Yeah.
These games look alright.
What?
You said Tiny Epic Tactics, right?
No, it's called Fae Tactics.
Oh, okay.
Like Fae is in fairy.
a board game that's kind of like that.
And then there's Project Wingman, which is it's a jet game. It's a combat jet game.
Hold on. A jet game that's fighting, like the
No,
Starfox.
no. It's like an arcadey. You're in jets blowing shit up, blowing up other jets. But it's more arcade-like,
okay.
I think, versus
Yeah, it's just that we get memories of Star Fox. Well, the version of Star Fox.
No. Jet games have always been more fun when you try to basically use unfortunately there's one thing that kind of makes me a little hesitant about it. It's got VR support. Yeah. I mean, like there's some games where VR really works, but a jet game where you're basically going to be
You're going to be doing loop-the-loops, you're going to be doing aileron rolls.
Yeah, I really don't. Yeah, I don't want to. I do not want to see that shit in VR. Fortunately, even though my PC is VR ready, I do not I do not have a VR headset, and I'm not spending the money on it. So it's okay for me. I'm all right. But
I was
yeah.
about to say, just be sure VR with certain games like that, because I can only imagine how they're motion sick.
Well, for me, VR, it's not the motion sickness because I really don't get motion sick. But for me, it's just I wear glasses and don't have the greatest eyesight, and I don't want to put more shit on my face in order to play a video game. Like the farthest I'll go is 3D glasses, and even then, I'm kind of like I'm not feeling it, but I'll do it for the experience.
Yeah, I actually think that 3D glasses are the best thing you can.
No, but there are certain movies. There are certain movies that are in 3D where it's like the 3D really adds to the movie. And I don't mean like the gimmicks they did when they had 3D back in the day with like, Friday the 13th 3D, but legitimately there are movies where the 3D was in there and it actually made it a better film. Like Kong Skull Island in 3D is fucking amazing. Godzilla King of the Monsters in 3D was amazing. So I mean, there's just certain films that in 3D, the 3D helps. So it's like I don't mind like having that. So the next thing is Blankos Block Party, which basically to me, I was getting some Splatoon vibes from it. Like a lot of Splatoon vibes from it. Yeah, I was feeling it. I'm like, wow, this is it's free to play, but I guess there's going to be microtransactions in there. I would rather spend like $50 or $60 on the game and just own it rather than have microtransactions. But
I was gonna say, Ninjaga at that moment.
Ninjala.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, Like, I mean, there's some games where if it's free to play, it makes sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's differences between games and Splatoon as far as you buy it quality. With those two other games, it's feeling like you might have to point on to get some of that stuff.
Well, Ninjala feels like it's trying to be Splatoon, but not quite. But it doesn't. It's like the art style and like what they were trying to do with the gameplay thus far. I'm like, oh, you're trying to be Splatoon, but this game isn't as fun as Splatoon. Like it really isn't.
I can only ask why, but that will be after.
So Blanco's Block Party is it's basically like you play as these toys in this toy world doing all types of toy things. So, I mean, if you're into that, I mean, the game looked kind of interesting, just how you can create your own characters and, create your own games and shit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Next, we have Everspace 2. So, once again, another space sim. But now you can fly on planets and blow shit the fuck up. So, you know, I might get this game, but I'm gonna get it once it leaves the Epic Game Store.
I was about to say, isn't it always fun to blow F up?
I mean, we have so few games where you're in a spaceship blowing up shit on a planet, and the piloting and controlling your ship feels good. Like, I don't see a lot of them. Like, it's either the control of your ship is either convoluted or some bullshit, whereas Everspace's control of the ship is actually pretty good. It's not great, it's pretty good. Then we have.
Well, it's because they're trying to create a scenario like how would you realistically control a ship, which therein lies the problem with realism when it comes to video games.
Yeah, it'd be a motherfucker, which is why, you know, it's making it arcadey makes it more fun for certain types of games. Now, there's some games where having the simulation experience is actually pretty good.
I was going to say, there's a reason why there's a separate category in video games, I think. Because some people like to do some real-life work, like Farm Simulator, and then there's those games like Jam.
Well, when I say a simulator, I particularly mean like games where it's like a vehicle simulator. So like bus simulator, train simulator, airplane simulator.
I mentioned Farm Simulator.
You know, Gran Turismo. No, I don't mean like a simulator where you're simulating an occupation. I mean where you're simulating driving a vehicle. Or they're trying to make it as realistic as possible for driving a certain type of driving, like Gran Turismo is.
So when you mentioned something, I remembered that the one game that needed that special controller.
Yeah, I know the game you're talking about. That Capcom game that you needed the special controller in order to really enjoy it. But that game's actually pretty fun, especially if you get the arcade version.
I'm talking about that game where you're playing in a mech suit. And
but that's not really a sim. That's just like that game was just you know, Capcom got a fuck ton of money from Microsoft to make something exclusive to the system, and they did, and it was that shit that was guaranteed to fail. Like
wasn't that controller like $600 or something like that? It was crazy.
It was ridiculously expensive, and then they re-released it for the Kinect. And like, here's the thing: what made that game fun was the controller and having that feeling of controlling this massive mech. And then they basically got rid of that by not having the controller. It's like, whatever. But anyway, the next game is Inculinati, which is basically It's essentially like a if you played SteamWorld Heist, that's basically what it is. It's a 2D moving around units in order to fight other units tactical game. But it's got a really interesting art style. Like if you've ever seen like old medieval monk scribed books with like the weird illustrations in the side and shit. Yeah, that's how the illustrations look for your units.
Yeah.
I will put a link in
below.
Yeah, because it looks pretty interesting. The art style alone. Now I don't know if it's good, but the art style looks pretty cool. I don't know. You know, I don't want to be like, well, you know, because there's plenty of games that look good. Total War Saga Troy. This is a Sega game. It's another Total War game, but it's the Trojan War. So yeah.
I guess if you're into that sort of thing, which I'm not, but I just don't like games. I just don't like games where you have to micromanage, where it's like a spreadsheet.
Oh, Total War. The Total War games are. You don't really have to micromanage it. They just look. I just don't really like if I'm gonna play a game where I'm basically like fighting wars, I prefer something like Civilization, where like I also have to manage like social aspects and stuff. Like I don't just want to worry about okay, I got to create more units, because then I just feel like I'm playing like StarCraft or Warcraft, and I don't, I played the shit out of that back in the day. I don't want to play more of that now. Then there's an expansion for Remnant from the Ashes 2923. Subject 2923. So, no, go ahead, Kenoshi.
It's a decent game. I've played it. It's all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's from what I've played of it and from people that I know who've played it and like it, like it starts out kind of slow, but once you start going into other worlds and getting those mods you can add to your weapons, so like you can have a shotgun that ignites a dude on fire, or you can have a pistol that like will freeze someone to making them take more damage from melee attacks or other attacks. So it's like once you start getting in the modded weapons and the game opens up, it gets a lot better. But you got to get past that first third. So that's kind of like I mean, there's some games that are good like that, and then there's some games where it's like, man, I got to get past this first third. Jesus, this is tough.
You're playing a game doing this.
No, there are games that are like, I mean, there's good games that are like that. Like Legend of Zelda Link to the Past. Like, the first third of that game... Well, actually, no. The first third of Link to the Past is pretty good. Ocarina of Time. The first third of Ocarina of Time, like, playing as a kid, that is some rough going.
Yeah.
That is... It's like, man, I hate playing as a kid in that game. But once you become an adult, the game gets so much better. Then they have Mafia Definitive Edition. So the first Mafia came out on the PS2, and it is an old-ass game. So them remaking it in a new engine with better graphics and a more expansive world is actually a pretty good thing. Although, personally, I mean, I know 2K is like, yeah, we're remaking this. I would rather have EA remake The Godfather Part 1 and 2 than play Mafia 1 or 2. Mafia 3 is pretty good, but it's basically a GTA clone.
Well, maybe we should just have it seems like they're just remaking everything.
You are correct. They are. They are, because it's cheap. They have the assets, so why not use them to make more money?
And everybody knows what they're going into.
Yeah.
They're just going into a prettier version of something they played 10, 15, 20 years ago.
That is true. So next we have Rogue Lords. If you ever wanted to play as the devil and have a coterie of some of the baddest, most evilest fictional characters like Marie Antoinette, aka Bloody Mary, also Bloody Mary, Dracula, and Baron Samedi. There you go.
Proceed your to
So if you're not into that type of stuff, then I feel sorry for you, but I like stuff like this, so I might get it. Unexplored 2. I remember playing the first Unexplored and not really getting into it. This game looks a lot better than the first Unexplored, though, so it might be worth it.
So going back to Rogue Lords, is it like Darkest Dungeon, or you just...
The combat's more like Slay the Spire, because Darkest Dungeon is kind of dark. Whereas this game, even though it's called Rogue Lords, isn't all that dark. It's but it looks interesting. Any game that lets me play as Baron Samedi, I'm like, I could be cool with that. Just because I like his interpretation from James Bond, Live and Let Die. With that black guy just laughing his ass off.
The art style for Unexplored looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a lot better than the first game. That first game was rough. That first game was really hard to get into, if I remember correctly.
When did it come out?
Well, I'm looking up the first game. Yeah, the first Unexplored
Hey everybody, and welcome to
looked just. I mean, here I'll give a link to a video in the chat. It was very basic, and the game was kind of hard to get into for me. I know some people that might not bother them, but for me, I was
gonna
like,
say Stone Age basic.
it looked basic. That's all I'm gonna say.
Is it a roguelike game?
Kind of.
I see what you're talking.
Yeah, it just looked really like this game looks so much better than that first one. The first one looked like a Flash game. Like a Flash game from like 6 years ago. No, like 10 years ago.
2005.
No, like finding something like that on mofunzone.com.
Newgrounds. No, Newgrounds. It looked like some
Newgrounds.
shit on Newgrounds.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like, you know, and not the polished Newgrounds shit, like the early Newgrounds shit.
Oh no, that's rough. Yeah, I remember that was some of my fondest memories in elementary school was just being able to go to the computer lab and go onto those free arcade sites and play those shitty Flash games.
Yeah, so I mean, occasionally you get something good, but most of the time it wasn't good. My favorite part of Newgrounds was Pico, and those shorts with Crinkles the Clown that had those ugly stick figure characters
those
doing just badass shit.
right?
Yeah, just doing badass shit. It's like, why is Crinkles the Clown trying to kill these people? Who knows? But there's some badass shit. If you ever got a chance and watch the Newgrounds,
I saw one of my memories. Retarded Animal Babies. Oh God, I had the face palm.
One of my favorites from college was when we saw the M-rated ones where they had Big Fat Bubba, the black guy who did the raping you in jail rap, and it's like it's a terrible subject, but the song is so catchy. If you hear it once, you're like,
Red Fox, I think we're showing our age with how old some of these things are.
Yeah, but it was fun. Like if someone plays that opening intro now, you'd be like, my name is Bubba. Help! Big Fat Bubba's after me! Help! And he's run away. But yeah, Newgrounds was great. But this basically, as I digress, it looked like a Newgrounds game. So I was like,
And if anybody's wondering, Newgrounds is still up.
Yes, it is. They were always like, they were always asking for money. They're like, we need money. Could you help us out? No, because at the time I was a broke college student. I didn't have any money, and even if I did, I wouldn't give it to Newgrounds. But I guess all Tom Fulp, all that Battle Block Theater and
Invaders.
And yeah, Invader Z and that other game where you play as those 5 knights, beat them up. I guess all that money kind of helped him keep his sight up. But anyway, let's keep it moving. Next game, Among Trees. If you ever wanted to build a house in the middle of the woods, Among Trees is free. Then you have Potionomics, which is basically it's a game published by Xseed, and you play a witch who owes an outstanding debt to a unsavory character, and now you have to pay that shit back by selling potions like you've never sold potions before. Now, really, she could make this money if she dressed scantily and went on the corner, but this is about potions, not prostitution. So
I have to say, Kip, because even potions sound a little bit spicy.
Yeah, she could make love potions and endurance potions and potions that keep things at attention for a long period of time. So, you know, I mean, she could make some money very easily. But
As I
anyway,
said, careful what you say.
so this game has some RPG type, adventure type games type aspects to it, but it looks interesting. It looks like some Atelier shit going on there, and I like those games, but you know, I might get it. Mortal Shell looked interesting. It was I don't know. It looked kind of like a It looked kind of like a Dark Souls-esque game without the unfair gameplay, like motion and moving around. So I don't know. It looked interesting. That's all I'll say. Let's see where else. What other game we have going on here? We have Shadow Man. It's being remastered. They showed some early beta footage of the remaster. I hope they're going to spend some more time remastering it because right now that game looks like an N64 game without the expansion package on it at this point.
No.
Yeah, it does not look good. And here's the thing. I know for a fact that game can look better because it came to the Dreamcast and PC. And on the Dreamcast and PC, it looks great. If you have the N64 with the expansion cart in it, it looks great. So I don't know what code they're using, but it is not optimized. I mean, it's too dark. They need to put the light up on that shit. It just...
They need some polish.
It feels like they just got this footage and they just were like, well, shit, it's an old game. We'll put it on there. Like I said, Shadow Man's one of my favorite N64 games. So, like,
oh man, yeah, this does look pretty rough.
yeah, it looks pretty bad. Like, here's the thing: I have Shadow Man on Steam, and Shadow Man on Steam looks way better than this shit right here. So, I mean, I'm guessing that they're putting it into a new engine, and they just haven't gotten it to jive with that new engine yet. Now, here's the thing: it's not coming out till later on this year, so you know, maybe next year. So
Polish it.
yeah, maybe they can get that code into work. But if you want to play Shadow Man, I advise getting it on. Just get it on Steam. Don't wait for this remaster to hit the scene because it's not looking great right now. Then they showed off some stuff from Tripwire Interactive, like a whole slew of games. So Blightbound, which it's co-op locally or online where 3 players choose between 3 different classes, warrior, assassin, and mage, and then you go around beating the shit out of stuff. So, and it's from the people who made Awesome Knots and Sword and Soldiers. So, you know, there's some pedigree to them.
Sounds great.
Unlike what many people may tell you, there is some pedigree to
the crew that's making that game.
I mean, yeah, there's some pedigree to it. So, I mean, you know you're going to get a good game. Although Awesome Nuts, yeah, you can get Shadow Man on Steam right now for like $5. So,
and they're probably gonna charge like 40 for the remake.
They might. Although these are the same people who also remade another game, and it was free if you already own the original version. So,
Oh,
like, I mean, look. If you want to cheap your way into it, you know. I mean, I like Shadow Man a lot. Although the N64 version has some enemies missing because of the processing power of the system, but I mean, hell, made it slightly easier to play in some places. But that's just me.
Sometimes limitations are good.
Yeah,
This Blightbound looks interesting.
yeah, it's
Blightbound.
it's kind of like a beat 'em up.
Yeah.
My only thing is that it's co-op, and I'm not a co-op guy, but you know. So this what?
yeah. So if you ever find somebody to play with you with it, then it probably a review.
Well, if it's on Steam, you know, you can always find people to play with on Steam. So the Sizzlerilla Games is Shadow of Doubt, which is basically kind of like it's a science fiction noir game, where you basically have to go around trying to find out who did something bad, who murdered somebody, and all that type of stuff. If you're into those types of
I
games,
was
this is
getting a
it.
Clue vibe from that.
What?
I was getting a Clue vibe from that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it might be fun. I might get it if it's like a $20, $30, $40 game. I'll probably get it. I don't want to spend a huge amount of money on it. Next game is The Forgotten City. Now, for those of you who don't know, it was originally a mod for Skyrim, which I have played. It's kind of broken on Skyrim, but so, and all they changed was it's not set in Skyrim, it's set in ancient Greece. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't really a fan of the mod when I played it. I was like, it's okay.
Well, obviously it's its own thing, so it might be more.
And
More
I
stable.
lost.
Yeah, people really liked it when it came out, so, you know, good for them. The next one is Paradise Killer. You play a female detective trying to find out who killed somebody. So it looks interesting. I like the art style of this game. I don't know if it's good, but it looks really interesting, and plus I like the fact that you actually have some platforming going on where you're in a kind of an open world and you jump around trying to find clues and shit. So, like, you're rewarded for looking in unusual places for shit, which I think is
Yeah.
cool.
Just be careful how odd it is, because if I remember right, some of the death traps.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, I don't think there's death in this game unless. Well, I don't know. I don't want to make any assumptions until it comes out or we get more information. Next one
Yeah.
is Cartel Tycoon. So it's like Drug Tycoon, or you know, Mall Tycoon or Tower Tycoon, except it's the drug cartel. So you too can be Tony Montana from Scarface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got a good laugh from what you said.
And there's a demo out on Steam, so if you have Steam, you can get it right now. The art style looks interesting. I don't know if it is interesting, but it looks interesting. You can channel your inner Tony Montana. For those of you who want to go around mowing down innocent people and
Make him cough up some money.
shoot your best friend in the chest because he went with your sister. You know, all the fun shit that we love about Tony Montana.
He can't do.
You
Well,
filthy
there's,
cockroach. What?
And then there's Haven. I've seen the full trailer for this game. This game was kind of.
Yeah, then there's Haven, which, from what I can see, is, I mean, it looks interesting. It's kind of a visual novel, open world RPG where you and your girlfriend are like trying to survive in a hostile land. Looks interesting. I don't know if it is going to be interesting. I might get it
Yeah.
I like the art style. That's the thing.
Yeah.
The next one is Chris Tales, which is kind of like a. I mean, it looks like they're trying to basically. It's like a mixture between Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, and Super Mario RPG, because I think their time to attack's in the game. That's why I'm saying it's like Super Mario RPG. But yeah, it looks interesting. So yeah, and I'll probably demo this and tell you what I think about it. It's called Chris Tales. It looks interesting. I don't know if it'll be great, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try the demo out, see what's going on. Oh man, this is a big demo. Kinda, sorta. But anyway, let's keep it moving to the next game. Trash Sailors. Trash Sailors is a game where you're essentially a crew of sailors after the Earth has been engulfed with a trash tsunami, and you're basically trying to survive by picking up trash and using it to build up your boat or repair it if it's taking damage. You have to fight trash pirates. It looks interesting, actually.
That was an odd description, but
it has an interesting viewpoint. I'm like, I like that it has the whole trash thing going on there. It's a game with a message.
I can only imagine how much garbage it took those ships.
Yeah. A game that I just found out about it that looks really interesting is that it's called Alaloth, and it's called Alaloth Champions of the Four Kingdoms, and it takes place in a world that the lore was developed by RPG veteran Chris Avellone, or Avellone. I don't know how he prefers his name pronounced. I've heard it pronounced both ways. Avellone, okay. But anyway, it's an action RPG, so it's not turn-based or anything, or real-time with pause, but just real-time with hardcore skill-based combat. There are 4 playable races. You can play humans, elves, dwarves, and orcs. And it looks interesting. It looks interesting.
At least logic, like break something and it's all fixed.
Well, I like shit like that. I like games like that. I like Chris Avellone has made really good games. I mean, he was the head writer for Fallout New Vegas, like a whole bunch of old school computer RPGs from back in the day. So, you know, he's he has a how can I put this? He has a pedigree, if you will.
Going back to Trash Sailors real quick, the art style kind of reminds me of the. I don't know if you ever remember this or even heard of this cartoon, the Adventures of Flapjack, or I think that's what it's called.
Yes, it does. It does look like the Adventures of Flapjack. As a matter of fact, I have HBO Max, and I put that in my queue because I was going to watch that later with Captain Knuckles and his doo-doo doll.
Yeah.
She's cursed me with a doo-doo doll. Oh no, Captain Knuckles. That's right, Flapjack.
Some of the things that you ever hear in this world.
Yeah, I mean, I miss Cartoon Network when they actually were trying to find their next Dexter's Laboratory and Powerpuff Girls, and they were just trying all types of shit. Some of it was really interesting, like Chowder and Flapjack.
Yeah.
It's a doo-doo doll. She cursed me with a doo-doo doll. And next we have Project Wingman, which, I mean, like I said, it's an Ace Combat air-to-air combat game. So,
yeah.
I mean, if you like shit like that, then, you know. So that was everything up there. We did Shadows of Doubt, the Forgotten. Well, we already did those. Next game, Weird West. It's an RPG. It's an action RPG. Well, kind of action RPG. It's basically it's like an isometric RPG from the guy who created Dishonored 1 and 2. So if you if you played those games, it's like that, except it's isometric and more RPG-ish. There you go.
Hopefully it's better than Dishonored.
I liked Dishonored. I thought it was a pretty good game. I mean, it wasn't great, but I liked it for what it was.
I still need to play through it. I have the first one.
Yeah, the first, like, my only issue with Dishonored is that the game was a little on the, like, some of the it was kind of difficult to do some of the alternate ways because in order to accomplish your objectives for some of the people that you had to punish, or it was like, man, this is damn near impossible because I don't want to kill these people. I want to utterly destroy their lives, which is actually how you got the best ending in the game. Was instead of killing them, was to utterly destroy their lives for your revenge, for Corvo's revenge. So, yeah. So the next thing is Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town. The remake is coming to PC. I will definitely buy that game. It's coming out on Steam July 14th. Like I said, I'm a Harvest Moon fanboy, so I will definitely be buying this game.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a Harvest Moon fanboy. I know it's called Story of Seasons, but it's Harvest Moon. and a good Harvest Moon on PC, and not that shit that Natsume came up with. You know, Find the Light, that was made, that looks like a fucking web browser game that they made, and they released for like $50, which is offensive to me.
What game? What game was that?
That's weird.
Here, I'll see if I can find it. Latest Harvest Moon game. Let's see. It's Light of Hope. Light of Hope. This cheap ass looking shit. Here, I'll show it to you. You'll be like, this cheap looking bullshit. Compared to all the other Harvest Moon games, I'm like, this is some lazy ass looking shit right here. It looks cheap.
I thought you were gonna mention Stardew Valley. It's like, you didn't like that game?
I mean, like, here's the thing. I like Stardew Valley, but it's not Harvest Moon. Like, Harvest Moon is... Like, Stardew Valley is like a low-rent version of Rune Factory.
Oh.
Ooh.
Like, that's not Harvest Moon. Harvest Moon doesn't have combat. Like, what you do in Harvest Moon, you fish, you farm, you ranch, you eventually get married and have a kid, so you fuck. But that's all you do. Like Stardew Valley's like trying to do way too much shit, you know? It's like, you know what I mean? And it doesn't balance it very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look at this cheap ass shit. Look at this cheap ass bullshit. It's ridiculous. Put this cheap ass looking shit. This shit looks like something that you'd put in a web browser. Some bullshit. And they put that.
Charge 50.
Well, when it first came out, it was like $50, and now it's like $20 on Steam. But that's still too much for this cheap ass. Look, this is what. Here's what the other Harvest Moon looks like. Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town. This is what the shit looks like. Let me. Oh shit! No, that's not it. God damn it! Here's what it looks like. Damn it! Damn it! I'm upset. Yeah, that's what Harvest Moon's supposed to look like. It's cartoony, but there's like some quality to the cartooniness. Whereas Harvest Moon's Story of Light just looks cheap. It looks really like Natsume was like, we don't want to spend a lot of money on this. And it was the 20th anniversary of the fucking series, and they made that cheap ass shit.
Yeah.
I would have been happier had they just done a remake of Harvest Moon, Harvest Melody.
Yeah, people love the Harvest Moon series. They would have definitely. You would have gotten that.
Well, we're niche. We're niche. Like we kind of like it's a niche franchise, but the people who love it really fucking love it. Yeah. Next we have. Yeah, I told you it looks cheap as fuck.
Yeah, took a look at it. I was like, man, that looks like that should be on a cell phone. From the
Basically,
early
well,
2000s.
initially it was on tablets. It was a tablet game. It was on tablets and smartphones, which makes perfect fucking sense for how that game looks.
It's like, I'll charge $50. The bastard could buy it. They'll buy anything.
Who?
I said they'll be like, they were probably like, we'll charge $50 for it. The bastard could buy it. They'll buy anything we make.
Well, I mean, I don't think it was initially $50. Let me see. A Harvest Moon Light of Hope price at launch. Price at launch. Let me look that up. Yeah, Light of Hope when it first came out was $40. Yeah, for that shit. That's the thing that pissed me off. It was $40 when it first came out. I'm like, this is some bullshit because that game is trash. I mean, it looks cheap as fuck. Like it looks like some shit that like you had to do a project and you had the entire semester to do it and you waited till the weekend before it was due to put it together, to start it and do it. Like that's how fucking cheap and lazy that shit looks. The next game is Amazon's MMO. It's primarily PvP called the New World. It's set in a fictionalized version of the New World, so you can play as like a colonist or a native, and that's it.
That's kind of lame. It's PvP.
It's mostly PvP. I think there's a little PvE, but it's mostly PvP. It's from Amazon, so I'm kind of like,
It's kind of lame.
Yeah.
I just kind of, I mean, I don't mind it. It's an MMO. I just, would rather much play against the computer than other people.
Well, the thing is that there's nothing wrong. There's nothing inherently wrong with PvP. The problem is that it's really, 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 really hard. It's really friggin' hard to
Screw something up.
Well, no, it's really hard to make PvP work.
It looks kind of interesting. I mean, the game, it looks like it could be fun. I don't know. It's like free to play or something. I might give it a shot. But...
I mean, here's the thing.
Yeah, it's free online, I think.
Here's the thing. It's from Amazon. They're basically Amazon's going down the. They're going down the Guild Wars thing where you pay a flat rate and then there's no subscription fee. You just pay, for the base game. So I guess that could work, but the thing is, MMOs live or die by how much content you release over time.
So is this supposed to be like a fantasy world of Indians and cowboys and?
No, it's set in a fictionalized new world of the colonization of America. So you have colonists and the natives.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
no cowboys. There were no cowboys at that time. It's like the natives, like Native Americans and colonists. So, or you could say invaders. That's probably more apt.
Yeah, I don't. That could. I wish that was a single player game because that could be interesting. Setting that all up in a sort of fantastical world. Because we don't a lot of the fantasy we get is usually medieval.
It's European and It's European ethnocentric, so it's like dwarves and elves and orcs and goblins and shit. We very rarely see stuff set in America, which had its own civilization before Europeans ever fucking came here. You're right, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, we don't have like a fantasy world that takes place, like you said, in early America, or a fantasy world that takes place in the Wild West,
I mean,
see a
we
lot
have
of that
more
stuff.
games that are set in the Wild Wild West because you have like Hard West and Desperados and shit like that. But I mean, when you're talking early America, like pre-European contact, you're right. You don't. We don't have a lot of fantastical worlds set in Native American culture, which would be cool because if you've ever read Native American folklore tales, really interesting shit in there. So what are you gonna do?
Like,
You know?
Well, I'm talking about like fantasy in the Wild West, I'm talking like magic and stuff like that. You don't see that too often, or
That'd be
really
interesting.
ever.
That'd be interesting. I mean, I mean, it'd be worth to try. I don't know if it would
I
work,
guess-
but
I guess you can make an argument for Wild Arms, but
yeah, but that's more steampunk.
yeah.
And steampunk is its own fucking genre these days. It's everywhere. Okay, let's keep it moving. Next game, Twin Mirror, which is basically it's Alan Wake in West Virginia instead of Massachusetts, instead of New England. I mean, it's basically Alan Wake, but in West Virginia
Yeah.
instead of New England. Metal Hellsinger, which is a rhythm-based first-person shooter. I don't know how that works, but we shall see. Next, we have the Dungeons of Nullbeck, which is basically a tactical dungeon crawler, except you're playing as, like, every character is a loser of what their particular class is. So you have, like, a shitty barbarian, a terrible elf archer, a shitty wizard, a bad rogue, that type of stuff. Looks interesting. They have Felicia Day as playing one of the voice actors for one of the characters, so So, I don't know. That could be a good or bad thing. Next, we have Red Sails, which is... That game looked kind of interesting. It's a game where you play as a sailor in a sand sea. And you explore and take care of certain events. I don't know if there's combat in the game, but you can rescue people and shit like that. So, looked interesting. I might get it. Next, we have Surgeon Simulator 2, where you get to play as the world's worst surgeon.
Wait, is going back to another game. Is Metal Hellsinger, is that like a rhythm-based game?
Yeah, I said that when I described it. I said it's a rhythm-based shooter.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at something else. So.
Yeah, it's a rhythm-based shooter. It's basically you do more damage by shooting enemies in time and attacking them in time with the rhythm of the song going on. So, I mean, if you're a rhythmic person or a music major or you like music, this will be good for you. If you don't like music and you're not a rhythmic person, this game, you'll probably suck at this game. Basically, is what I'm saying. So we did. So next, Surgeon Simulator, where you play as the world's worst surgeon. Basically, I mean, it's more comedic, so whatever. The Last Campfire. It's from Hello Games, so warning, this could be shit. I don't care how good it looks; it could be shit.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah, it's The Last Campfire. The next one is Escape from Tarkov, which has been out for a while, but there's a new map coming for it. And the last game is the Outlast Trials, where basically it's set where Americans are being tortured in an experiment during the communist era, 1960s, and like they're being like brainwashed and tortured. It looks really fucked up. I'm probably not going to get that game because I don't like games like that. I don't like games with torture in them. So that's everything. That's everything we wanted to talk about. So that's everything they showed at the thing. So with that being said, what are your overall thoughts of the PC gaming show?
There's pretty interesting stuff there. I thought, it's definitely a few games I'll definitely be looking forward to play. Like Torchlight 3. Of course, I just bought Persona 4 Golden. And then, let's see. Metal Hellsinger looks interesting.
All right. Well, I liked it, so I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So overall, I would have to give the PC gaming show 1 thumb up. Not 2, because I mean I did like every game they showed, but obviously not every game that they show would be something that I would like, you know.
Yeah.
And it would be unfair of me to expect that every game they show to be great. But the vast majority of the games were interesting, so I like them for what they were. Your thoughts, Jewel? Oh, shit. I guess she's... Okay, then. So, I guess when Jewel gets back, she can give her opinion on it. So, with that being said, I guess we could contrast compare. The PC gaming show was more interesting to me than anything that came out of the Sony experience, if you will.
Yeah, I mean PC is an ongoing system, so it's not like they have to they're trying to sell you on a new platform or anything. But at the same time, a lot of those games at the same time, I guess Sony could have shown maybe a bit more. Or maybe they should have. I guess what I'm trying to say is they should have focused more on exclusives rather than,
What, Sony?
Maybe they should. Yeah, maybe.
Well,
they
I mean,
should
but they
more
can't
emphasis
show
on-
exclusives because there's only they showed like 20 games and only 3 of them were exclusive to the PlayStation 5. Like everything else was coming to PS4, PS5, or as a multi-plat on everything. So, the only company. See, you're spoiled as a Nintendo fan because nearly everything that's on a Nintendo console is Nintendo exclusive. So it's like, wow, this is the reason I own this console. Whereas if you own a PS4 or a PS5 or an Xbox One or a Xbox, it's like, I could have gotten this on something else. What's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah. The only downside with this game is the only downside about all this, in my humble opinion, is in my humble opinion, is that like basically the whole point of showing off new hardware is to get people excited for the hardware and make them want to buy it. Seeing the PS5 reveal didn't make me want to go buy a PS5. Like, I just didn't care. I was like, eh. Whereas, or be appreciative for you owning the console already. Like, the PC gaming show made me say, oh, wait, I'm glad I own a PC. Like, I didn't give a fuck about, seeing the PS5 gaming show didn't make me say, hey, man, I should get a PS5.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with Nintendo, you had, I know Breath of the Wild was a port, but, that was Let's face it. You know, a lot of people didn't buy the Wii U, and it
Yeah,
enticed a lot of people to buy a
yeah,
Switch.
yeah. But I mean,
And
that still is like a mainline 3D Legend of Zelda game is a system seller. People will buy a system just for that one game, right?
Yeah.
Um, so there are games that basically like there are games that essentially
Hmm.
that are like people will go out of the way, like people there used to be a time where people bought an Xbox to play Halo.
In short, they were called exclusives.
Yeah. Either exclusives or you have to buy the system for this game. System sellers is what they called them.
Yeah.
And even there were some games that were multiplets that were system sellers, like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. That game was on multiple systems, but people bought PS2s to get that game. People bought when it came to the Xbox 360. They got it on the Xbox 360. People love that game. So
Yeah.
My point being is this, okay? People like this shit, all right, and that's just the way it is. But anyway, anything else you guys want to add before we wrap things up?
For me, I actually think that this was a good up in a sense. Nah, there's some hits, there's some misses, there's some laughs, some cries. I consider it like a double B movie. Getting a good quality movie before the main event.
Mm. I gave it one thumb up, and I said that it did its job better than the PS5 experience because basically, like, I really didn't give a like watching the PS5 reveal didn't make me want to go get a PS5.
Hmm. Same
Right?
here.
Like, whereas, watching this reveal, like, I actually went and bought games. I bought Persona 4 Golden. I bought Torchlight 3. Like, I bought a game. Like, I went out and actually, like, while they were like, hey, you can get this now, I'm like, yeah, why not? And I went and bought it. And so, I mean, that's basically like, Joe Blow average person. I'm pretty sure there's some people who saw the PS5 reveal, like, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people like me who are like, I can wait.
You can wait for a price to be revealed for one thing.
Yeah, first of all, price. Second of all, I need to see more games, and games that I want to play. Because to be honest with you, most of those games I'm kind of like, I don't give a shit about. But anyway, anything else you guys want to add before we wrap things up?
I think I'm set.
Yeah, I think. Well, there's one more thing I wanted to.
Go ahead, we have time.
I saw a review of The Last of Us 2, Part 2, and I just when I was listening to the review, I just realized, it. So The Last of Us 2, essentially why I probably definitely won't be interested or pick up The Last of Us 2 is the same reason I wasn't particularly thrilled about Afro Samurai, and that's essentially, you have this. You just have this cycle of anger and hatred throughout. It's like it gets old. A lot of just, there's not really a lot of meaning to the whole, revenge story, revenge plot.
Well, man,
The character.
you don't play Afro Samurai for the story. You play Afro Samurai because you like hearing Samuel L. Jackson curse people the fuck out.
I'm talking about the anime, but yeah. But it's apparently there's like character assassinations, literal and figuratively.
Yeah,
that
well,
they do.
apparently Ellie learns no lesson from the whole thing. She learns zero lessons.
Yeah, yeah. It's like some of these people try way too hard to create. They try harder than they need to create a strong female protagonist.
Well, it's not. I mean, I don't think creating a female protagonist who is just as cutthroat as some male protagonists are portrayed as makes them a strong female protagonist. I think, like, here's the thing: having a character who overcomes their weaknesses in order to become a better person makes them into a strong protagonist. Case in point: Luke Skywalker versus uh, Supergirl. Uh, Ren. Ray. I forgot her name. Like Luke Skywalker starts out as this whiny little bitch, right? This whiny, naive little bitch who, over time, becomes more confident, becomes more capable, and in the first film, he's a whiny little bitch, know-it-all, right? In the second film, he gets a little bit too full of himself and has to get smacked down. He gets corrected, right? And in the third film, he becomes a hero, right?
Yeah.
Which also emulates the arc of his father, because in the first film, we don't you don't know that Darth Vader is his father, so that doesn't really count. But in hindsight, A New Hope. A New Hope refers to the galaxy having a new hope, but also Darth Vader finally getting some new hope in becoming a better person and having redemption, right? Then the Empire Strikes Back. The Empire Strikes Back. He realizes, oh shit, I have a kid. I have a chance to be better. A part of him says, I have a chance to be better because he could have killed. He didn't want to kill Luke. He could have. He totally had the ability to because he fucked him up pretty good, but he didn't. And then in the third film, like he's just like, look, he's like, look, I know you want me to join you, but I've done so much fucked up shit. I don't think I can. I'm too far gone. It's too late for me. So I mean, basically, you have this hero's journey of this boy becoming a man. Whereas in the new Star Wars films, you have a character who has no weaknesses whatsoever. Zero weaknesses. None. And I mean, I don't know about you, but that's kind of it's disingenuous. Well, it's disingenuous for the character because it does a disservice to the character. Because why should I root for a character who has no weaknesses to overcome?
The only time I would say when they get their smacked down to ground level.
It never happens for Rey. She always has the most. Like literally in the first movie, she literally, someone who had just picked up a lightsaber is able to beat a guy who had been using a lightsaber for at least 2 decades.
And use the mind trick, or no less.
Well, I mean, she used it on stormtroopers. Stormtroopers are really stupid. They're easily influenced, so I can understand that. But aside from that, just like really, really, just not like it was not a well designed
movie.
It was not a well designed saga. Yeah, it wasn't a well designed saga. Like for people who said, "Man, the prequel trilogy is terrible," let me tell you something, man. We thought the prequel series was terrible. The prequel trilogy is a fucking masterpiece compared to the new Disney Star Wars trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. The PC gaming show, I thought it was great. It wasn't perfect, but I mean, look, listen. The whole point of having the whole point of having a show about your console, whether it be about your gaming platform, whether it be a console, a handheld, or the PC, is that either you want to be drawn to those games or you want to be excited that those games are coming to your platform. and it did what it had to do. So I think overall it's pretty good. That's the end of this video. Anything you guys want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
No,
All right. Okay.
just don't drink the PS5 Kool-Aid.
Okay then. To get in touch with the channel, you can reach me at Mr. Red Fox BSBusters at gmail.com or at Matthew Wesley at Mr. Red Fox 91. Or if you would like to be a part of our Discord, actually it's my Discord. My Discord, you can, there's a link underneath the video. You can click on that and you can join Discord. So there, my Discord server, which is called BS Buster. So yeah, that's the end of this podcast. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. And if you would, have any topic suggestions, you can leave them at my Gmail. Or at me on Twitter, or just put them in the Discord link if you're a member of my Discord. So that's the end of this video. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. Peace, good night, and...